and it saved them $250,000. It was a tremendous project, and the whole community knew about it. I mean, that was the focus of the community those years.
Ever since his parents bought him a home computer when he was 8 years old, Morris Tabush has always had a passion for computers. When he was in high school, that passion led him to assist people in his neighborhood with setting up their first home computer. He eventually transitioned to providing IT services to small businesses and officially founded Tabush Group out of his college dorm room. Over the last 20 years, Morris came up with so many innovative ideas to help his clients. Today, Tabush Group has 37 employees and serves hundreds of businesses across the country.
So when I was probably about 8 years old, my parents bought an Apple IIc computer, which was I guess one of the best computers of the day. And from the day they got it, I was fascinated by it.
Were you into computers or technology before?
I was always fascinated, like from as long as I can remember, I was fascinated by technology, mechanicals. I love to this day, I see something and I'll say, that's very cool. I wonder how it works. And I just can't help but pick apart things in my head and say, what's going on behind the scenes? Like I'll go to a Broadway show and say, wow, I see all those lights. There's the lighting guy sitting back there. I wonder what kind of control system he has to control the lights and how he communicates with the people backstage.
The back end.
I just love to figure things out, break them down and see how they work. And what happened was around 94, this would have been, I was a freshman in Hillel High School now. I got a phone call one night from a woman in the community. She said, we just bought a computer for the house and we're not sure what to do with it. So we called, her name was Mrs. Marticelli. She was the computer teacher in Hillel Elementary School, to ask her, and she said that you were in her class last year and you were really good with computers. Could you come to my house and set up this computer and show us how to use it?
You must have known it better than her.
You know what? I don't know. I remember that I always loved computer class and I always loved to show off. I wasn't a great student in school, but computers is something that I was pretty good in. So this woman, I'll never forget, she picked me up from school one day, and it happened to be my best friend's aunt, so I knew who it was. She picked me up from school one day, went to her house, took out the computer, set it up. It was one of those early on Mac computers. She drove me home and she said, okay, how much do I owe you? I said, I don't know. She said, well, you're at my house for about an hour. How about $10? I said, it's awesome. I was 14 years old. I never made any money before. And that sparked something. And then over the next few years, while I was in high school, it was the early 90s. Everybody was getting their first home computer. They were scared to take it out of the box. They didn't know what to do with it. So I became the guy around Deal, New Jersey, riding my bike all over town, setting up computers for people and getting them onto, at the time there was no real internet, there was America Online. So again, I was getting everybody set up with AOL at the time. And for every, AOL, the way it used to work, it was $20 a month and you had 5 hours of time you were allowed on, and everything over 5 hours they would charge you for. But if you would refer a friend, you'd get 5 bonus hours. And I think by the time I graduated high school, I had like a few hundred hours built up in the bank with them.
Because you kept referring people to AOL.
Exactly, I kept referring people and referring and referring. And so everybody in Deal that got AOL, I got 5 extra hours for it.
That's great. And did you raise the rate of 10 an hour?
I did. I don't remember. Maybe I went to 15 an hour by the time I was a senior, or 20 an hour. I don't remember exactly. I was just the guy. People were calling me. I think after that first computer lesson that I did, I actually thought this was pretty cool, and I went home and I made signs. I used my computer to design them with little pull-off tags on the bottom saying computer lessons, Morris Tabush, and my phone number. And I went up and down Norwood Avenue and I hung them in the pizza store and in whatever stores there were on Norwood Avenue. I hung them up and saying, hey, I'm doing this. Give me a call.
And you still have that sign?
I still have one of them, yes. I have an extra copy that my mother saved and I found a few years ago.
After high school, you went to Yeshiva University.
Right. While I was in YU for 3 years, a few interesting things happened. First of all, I didn't want to be a camp counselor most of those summers. So every summer I'd go to get a different internship. And they were all somehow related to technology. For 2 years, I was a salesman in Nobody Beats the Whiz, electronics store on Route 36, and I got to sell Walkman, CD players, phones, and computers. While I was in YU, I started getting calls from people who said, hey, I know you from Deal, you set up a computer in my house a couple of years ago. Well, I have a business in the city and we want to get this new DSL thing to get us on the internet, or we want to get our own email domain so we're not, all sharing one AOL email address. So I was in YU, I had a couple days off each week. I used to take the subway down to Midtown and walk around the city, and I had 3 or 4 clients keeping me pretty busy between getting internet up for them. Back then you couldn't just call Verizon or Optimum and order a cable modem or Fios. It was getting online to the internet was actually a very big, complicated process.
And one of your first clients was my dad.
Yeah, so your dad knew me. He sat 2 rows in front of me in shul, and he was one of those people. He wanted to get on the internet. He wanted to get an email domain name that wasn't at AOL.com. He asked me to come into his office. I came in, I set up those things, and since I was the tech guy, it was like, oh, we also want to get some speakers and music playing. Okay, I know how to hang up speakers on a wall. I could run some wires. How hard could all this be? And I was just doing random tech work for your dad. And then your dad, one of his friends asked him, he told them. I guess I was a senior in college, and my father turned to me one day and he said, you're graduating in a few months. What do you want to do? And I was like, wow, I haven't thought about that. Now, I knew that I didn't want to work in my father's business. Like I said, he has ladies' wear stores. I had absolutely no interest in going into retail. I had actually interned for him one summer, and that was sort of the nail in the coffin that said I definitely don't want to be here for the rest of my life. I knew I had a few clients. I liked doing work for them. I said, I think I want to start a computer service business. He asked me, he said, okay, is that actually a business? Like, could you make money doing computer work for people and billing them by the hour? I said, I don't really know if I could, but I really like what I do. I think I'm good at it. I want to give it a shot. So, happened to be one of my friends in YU who roomed a couple rooms away from me. His father owned a building in the city. He gave me a really good deal on my first office. He said, I heard you're starting a business. Do you need an office? We have empty space on 28th Street. So he gave me a very good deal and helped me get started with an office. Another guy who was in one of my computer classes said, oh, I heard you're starting a business. I'm also good with computers. Could I come work for you in June when we graduate? So all of a sudden, I had an office. I had 2 employees. One was this guy I met in college. Another one was my friend and roommate. He said, hey, we're friends, we're roommates. Let's work together also. How bad could it be?
You had an office, 2 employees,
a handful of small clients, and no idea what we were going to do with all of that. And then my roommate / friend who came to work for me, his job was just sales and marketing. So right away we printed up a lot of swag. We made golf balls, we made memo cubes, we wrote letters about what we do, and we literally hit the streets of New York going into every single building with we had one of those little granny carts that you see the ladies on Kings Highway with. We had those, just going up and down the buildings, knocking on doors. Here's a little shopping bag. We do computer work. If you ever need anything, call us. And the first month or so, we hit up all the big buildings. At the time, there was no security in the buildings in Manhattan. You could just walk right in. We went up and down Broadway, 1411, 1407, 1385, 1350. Handing out hundreds of these bags of golf balls and memo cubes and letters of, we're computer guys, so if you need any help with your computers, please call us. And the phone started to ring. This one needed a server, this one needed help with another thing, this one needed wiring, this one wanted to get a DSL line. And the work just started to come in.
Was what you studied in college relevant to the business that you were now starting? Like, did you need that?
I took 2 semesters of accounting, and I'll never forget, all through those semesters, I didn't understand an asset versus a liability, a balance sheet. I didn't know what any of that meant. I didn't really care. I just cared to pass the class. After 2 months of having my own business with real money, I right away knew what an asset and a liability was.
Right, because then you cared.
Yeah, I don't want to say those classes helped me because I needed that to do what I do, but they gave me a very good foundation.
Right. I'm sure most of the people your age or your friends were not working 6 days a week and 70 hours a week.
No, they weren't. I loved what I did. It was a passion for me. It still is a passion. So it's not work.
So then you did a huge job for Mag and David Yeshiva, which really put you on the map.
Right. Late 2002 or early 2003, I get wind that Mag and David Yeshiva is putting up a new building on McDonald Avenue. So of course I want to get in, I want to do that project. I approached the school, they put me in touch with a project manager that they had hired. The project manager said, no, we have a company, they're taking care of everything. Turns out, a few of the people that were very high up on the board of directors in Mag and David are people who I had been to their house and done their computers a few times. I called on them. They got me access to just see the plans that this other company was going to put into the school. And I looked at it and I said, right away, this makes no sense. I said, this one thing is going to waste about $250,000. I said, what I'm proposing in just one area makes so much more sense for all these reasons. And it saved them $250,000. It was a tremendous project, and the whole community knew about it. I mean, that was the focus of the community those years. And when they opened the building, I was just so proud that, look, everything you see here, there was a computer on every teacher's desk, there were phones everywhere. We put all of that in, and that was amazing. In 2003, 2 years after I started the business, as you know, we started to make money, I went to my father's office one afternoon, and I called him. I said, "Hey, Dad, I want to come have lunch with you." His office was a few blocks away from mine. I went, took out the sandwiches, and I said, "Here, this is for you." And I handed him back a check for all the money he had lent me. So I felt really proud that I was able to pay him back every penny. And at that point, even if I failed, I was only letting myself down. After Mag and David, I want to say it went to sort of business as usual. We had our regular clients, we were taking care of things, we were getting new clients. And until about 2010, I was still growing the business in the manner of, we'll take any work we can get, any work for any kind of company or any person. We'll take whatever it is as long as it generates revenue. And in 2010, we had grown probably we were close to 30 employees, and things were starting to fall apart. We'd gotten too big, too quickly, doing too many different types of work for too many different types of companies. We were, this was flat fee, this was hourly, this was software, this was a website, this was a phone system, this was wiring. We were just doing way too many things to too many people. And there's a famous saying, you can't please all the people all the time. My partner, Dara, and I, at that point, came to a crossroads, and we said, we're having too many problems. We were generating revenue, we were profitable, but it was like every day I'd walk into the office and say, okay, what's gonna go wrong today? And I didn't enjoy it anymore. I went from loving my business, loving going to work, to being scared to go to work every day. There was a time when I remember I got to the lobby, and if the elevator was broken, I'd say, good, that gives me 5 more minutes till I have to be in work. There was a few months that I dreaded going to the office every day. So end of 2009, my partner and I decided we didn't want to close up shop. We're going to give it one more try. So we hit the reset button, and what that meant was we got rid of about 50% of our clients and 70% of our staff. And we just focused and we said, this is what we're really good at doing, and this is who we're really good at doing it for. And we're just going to start again from scratch with those things. Instead of a client paying us by the hour when they needed us, or only paying us when there's a problem, we would come up with a fixed monthly fee for that company that says, we will service you for this monthly fee. If you have 10 problems or you have 2 problems, you're paying us the same fee.
It's an IT company.
Right, and it puts us on a level playing field now where we're both incentivized to minimize issues for the company.
Right.
So those were the things that we decided to focus on.
You have 37 people working for you.
I know, it's hard to believe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. At our holiday party every year, I look around the room and I can't believe what the team has become.
So you also started a different business back in 2007 that you ended up selling.
Yes. So the story behind that was I was at a client's office who was a law firm doing some work for him. I finished up, we were just chit-chatting. I said, wait, I got to put my time in. He saw me doing it on my BlackBerry. He goes, what is that? That's the greatest thing in the world. I can't log time on my BlackBerry. Where's that, what is that software? Where could I get it? I said, oh, it's something we custom built and you can't get it, it's ours. He looked at me, he said, you've got something here. You should sell this to law firms. So called up Jeremy in Seattle. I said, Jeremy, this program you wrote for me? Do you want to try to make it into a business? He said, that's actually a good idea because I really don't like working at Microsoft anymore and I'd love to start something. So Jeremy the programmer, Robert the lawyer, and myself decided to take this software that I had paid Jeremy to write and turn it into a sellable product. This all happened around 2006, 2007, and we actually launched the company in early 2008. It was called Bill for Time. It was a web-based or browser-based time and billing program for lawyers and other people who had to bill their time with a BlackBerry app. And we were one of the first ones to have, again, cloud wasn't really a word, but we were one of the first ones to have a cloud-based program to do this from. And again, just like when I started Tabush Group, I hit the ground grassroots. I called a couple of lawyers from the community that I knew. I said, hey, how are you guys tracking your time? And one of the lawyers, I'll never forget, he was a small 2 or 3 person firm. He goes, oh, we write it all down, we fax it to the accountant, and he sends out the bills for us. And he charges us for that. I said, try this program I wrote. It's gonna cost you $40 a month, see how you like it. And to this day, he's still a client, and he's still a customer of that company. In early 2017, my partners and I realized that we couldn't take the business any further. Thank God it was doing very nicely, but we couldn't take it to that next step. At the same time, we got approached by a few different companies that were very interested in us. We went down the road with a few of them, and we ended up selling in September. We ended up getting acquired in September 2017.
By who?
A private equity firm out of the Bay Area.
Nice. You ever think about where you'd be if your parents didn't get you that computer when you were 7?
I do. And when I think back, there's a lot of things that my parents did. They must have seen it in me from when I was a kid.